Hello, guys. I think this is maybe the last one today. I wanted to talk about some recent developments regarding, well, Gamergate 2 and the feds. So we're going to be getting into it. First, I want to give you guys a little bit of backstory. So, again, a little bit about me. I am a very uh, big proponent and supporter of creative freedom, and that means that I have to defend art and the integrity of people's ideas and creations in every piece of media. So that includes gaming, movies, television, etc. Um, and I'm also a men's issues advocate, and I do that work over on Honey Badger Radio, which you can go check out at honeybadgerbrigade.com or just look up Honey Badger Radio or Honey Badger live streams on YouTube. There are links in the description to the channels I work with and a lot of our friends and allies like Aiden Paladin. So check it out. But yeah, we're like geeks and nerds, but also we care about, fairness and justice and doing the right thing. So because we care about these things, we get the ire of lots of activists, journalists, pundits, intellectuals, academics, and politicians, and also government agencies occasionally. So a while back, I had a guest on Honey Badger Radio named BX, and she was doing a lot of research into a counterterrorism apparatus put out by the Department of Homeland Security, which was targeting what they call red pill or manosphere content. And I'm going to share this brief document here, and it goes into detail. I'm going to switch back here. I don't know that I'm allowed to go into a lot of this. We did cover it on a show, but for some reason, the stream we did over at Badger Live Streams was taken down, or at least it looks like it was taken down, because I'm no longer able to access it. And that's a little bit alarming, I have to say. But why am I bringing this up? What does this have to do with Gamergate? Well, they're also coming for gamers. So this is an article from The Intercept called "The Feds Are Coming for Extremist Gamers. The Department of Homeland Security and FBI are in dialogue with Roblox, Discord, Reddit, and others." So let's get into it. Gaming companies are coordinating with the FBI and Department of Homeland Security to root out so-called domestic violent extremist content, according to a new government report, noting that mechanisms have been established with social media companies to police extremism. The report recommends that the national security agencies establish new and similar processes within the vast gaming industry. The exact nature of this cooperation between federal agencies and video game companies, which has not been previously reported, is detailed in a new Government Accountability Office report. The report draws on interviews conducted with 5 gaming and social media companies, including Roblox, an online gaming platform, Discord, a social media app commonly used by gamers, Reddit, as well as a game publisher and social media company that asked the GAO to remain anonymous. So there's another company that is remaining anonymous. The Intercept reached out to the companies identified in the GAO report for comment, but none responded on the record at time of publication. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, have mechanisms to share and receive domestic violent extremism threat related information with social media and gaming companies, the GAO says. The report reveals that the DHS Intelligence Office meets with gaming companies and that the companies can use these meetings to, quote, share information with I&As, that's the DHS Intelligence Office, about online activities promoting domestic violent extremism, or even simply, quote, activities that violate the company's terms of service, end quote. Through its 56 field offices and hundreds of resident agencies, subordinate field offices, the FBI receives tips from gaming companies of potential law-breaking and extremist views for further investigation. The FBI also conducts briefings to gaming companies on purported threats. Seems like a really good use of their time and our taxpayer dollars, but okay. The GAO warns that FBI and DHS lack an overarching strategy to bring its work with gaming companies in line with broader agency missions. Without a strategy or goals, the agencies may not be fully aware of how effective their communications are with companies or how effective their information sharing mechanisms serve the agency's overall missions, the GAO says. The report ends with a recommendation that both agencies develop such a strategy, a recommendation that DHS concurred with, providing an estimated completion date of June 28th of this year. All I can think of is the awful track record of the FBI when it comes to identifying extremism. Hassan Piker, a popular Twitch streamer who often streams while playing video games under the handle Hassanabi, says of the mechanisms, also known as Jank's nephew. They're much better at finding vulnerable teenagers with mental disabilities to take advantage of. Yeah, but Hassan, you're literally doing that too. Sorry, guys, but Hassan Piker's a communist, so I mean he's right here, but yeah, like even a broken clock is right twice a day. So the GEO's investigation, which covers September 2022 to January 2024, was undertaken at the request of the House Homeland Security Committee, which asked the government auditor to examine domestic violent extremists' use of gaming platforms and social media. While there is no federal law that criminalizes domestic violent extremism as a category of crime, since 2019, the US government has employed 5 domestic terrorism threat categories. These are defined by the FBI and DHS as racial/ethnically motivated violent extremism, anti-government/anti-authority violent extremism, you mean libertarianism, animal rights or environmental violent extremism, abortion-related violent extremism. I don't even know. Wait, isn't abortion itself violent? What are you talking about? Like, what's abortion-related violent extremism? What does that even mean? And all other domestic terror threats. So basically, this sounds like anyone who has opinions that we don't like. I mean, really, like racial, ethnically motivated violent extreme. I don't know what that means. Like against does that apply to white people? Somehow I doubt it. Like anti-white racism, is that going to be on your list? No, I don't think so. Um the GAO study also follows pressure from Congress to top gaming companies to crack down on extremist content. Last March, Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Dick Durbin sent letters to gaming companies Valve, who owns, by the way, Steam, Activision Blizzard, Epic Games, Riot Games, Roblox Corp, and Take-Two Interactive, demanding that they take actions to police gamers. Unlike more traditional social media companies, which in recent years have developed public-facing policies addressing extremism, created trust and public safety teams, and released transparency reports, online gaming platforms generally have not utilized these tools, Durbin wrote in a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland. In the letter, Durbin requested a briefing from the Justice Department on what channels exist for DOJ and the online video game industry to communicate and coordinate on the threat of online video games by extremists and other malicious actors. The federal government's interest in combating extremism has risen sharply following the January 6th storming of the Capitol. See? No escaping politics. They want to push it on you no matter what. On his first full day in office, President Joe Biden directed his national security team, his fucking goose-stepping cronies, to conduct a comprehensive review of federal efforts to fight domestic terrorism, which the White House has deemed, quote, the most urgent terrorism threat facing the United States, end quote. No, not the southern border, not the terrorists, no, not MS-13, no. You know, it's the gamers. Greater than foreign terrorist groups like the Islamic State group. Yeah, Biden's directive resulted in the first ever national strategy for fighting domestic terrorism raised by the White House in June of 2021. The strategy mentions, quote, online gaming platforms, end quote, as a place where, quote, recruiting and mobilizing individuals to domestic terrorism occurs. So, a little bit more of this. According to the national strategy, the intelligence community assessed that extremists emboldened by events like January 6th pose an elevated threat to the homeland, and that DVE, domestic violent extremist attackers, often radicalize independently by consuming violent extremist material online and mobilize without direction from a violent extremist organization, making detection and disruption difficult. So I won't read any more of this. I think we get the general sense. But I do want to say one thing. Um, I remember when Mortal Kombat was available back in the early 90s, and we all presumed that all of this was coming exclusively from what were considered conservative pundits and conservative commentators that were like clutching their pearls and all that, right? Um, but this is not about that. So I know some people are going to say, "Oh, I'm so surprised the liberals are coming for us," because at the end of the day, there are no sides in this. There are men who these people can't control, and it makes them angry because it is that. It is that. Women are invisible. Female gamers don't count. They ignore them. They speak for them. It's the male gamers. They see them as a threat. They want to um, come after us. They want to be able to monitor us. They want to be able to control us. They want to be able to tell us what we can and cannot do with our time and with our money. And they want to essentially create a threat narrative around male hobbies. And I'm just letting you guys know. So let me know what you guys think about this article in the description. I will put a link to it, but I do have another one I want to look at. This is also sort of relevant to that. And the reason why I brought up, by the way, that red pill content, like men's issues content that DHS is trying to use a nonprofit to redirect is I believe that they're doing the same thing with the gaming community as well. So there's the overt stuff where they try to shut down your Discord or shut down your Steam account or whatever, which is bad. But there's also going to be a covert thing where they're going to essentially try to limit your reach, like my reach. Like this channel has less than 500 subscribers. Probably not going to reach a lot of people. I hope that you guys will support me and other people. There's a lot of great guys and gals making great content that deserve to be heard because I think it's important and it is about our culture. And the culture war is a big deal. Not just because of the old saying, politics is downstream from culture. But if we don't live in a society with a rich culture, there we don't have anything worth preserving. So we have to have that. And you don't want to throw out what everyone has built before us. That's what we're enjoying now. So anyway, let us go into this. So there's this group called Take This, and Take This is, well, let's take a look at what they are before I read into this thing. So, Take This is about mental wellness. They are an NGO. Let me see if there's an About Us. I'll just go to the About Us section. Oh, where's the About? Oh, yeah, here we go. Our mission is to decrease the stigma and increase the support for mental health in the game enthusiast community and inside the gaming industry. Our vision is a game community that welcomes and supports people experiencing mental health challenges and that recognizes the humanity and mental health of game creators. Wow, that sounds really nice, doesn't it? It sounds good. It sounds, like supportive of gamers, maybe supportive of people that struggle with mental health problems like depression or whatever it is, anxiety. Maybe they're on the spectrum. A lot of gamers are on the spectrum. This all sounds good. They normalize mental health challenges and recognize and honor intersectional experience. Oh, wait a minute. Red flag. Intersectional. That's a bit worrying. We approach change and mental wellness broadly from empowering is a little bit of a troubling word, individuals to enacting systemic change, another one, focus on leadership and cultural norms. Okay, wait, this might not be quite what I thought it could have been. Let's go back. Well, they did say something about Gamergate too. Oops. Um, so we're gonna take a look at that, and maybe they're gonna be on our side, guys. Maybe they get it. Let's see. Uh, if you're reading this, you've probably been hearing about what's now being called Gamergate 2. Gamergate 2. It is the latest targeted harassment campaign within the game industry, and it's aimed at Sweet Baby Inc. Huh? It's a targeted harassment campaign. Who's the source they're using for this? Oh, look, it's Kotaku. It's the Kotaku source. Well, well, powder my ass and call me Merry Christmas. I don't know. Not surprising at all. A Montreal based narrative development studio, the campaign also has been impacting entities and games associated with Sweet Baby, journalists covering the issue, and others associated in various ways with the targets. You also may be at a loss to know how to talk about this issue and what, if anything, you could do about it. That's where we come in. So they're going to tell us if you're one of these mentally troubled gamers that relies on takethis.org, this NGO, as a means of support, and you trust them, don't worry about Gamergate 2. Don't talk to the people in the community. We're going to tell you what they're about. We know what they're really about, and we're going to help you. So don't worry your pretty little head. We got you. We got you at takethis.org. We're gonna hook you guys up with the deets. So let's find out. Discord, Steam, and X have been the predominant platforms where the abuse and harassment has been taking place. In these spaces, lists of game studios, companies, and associated organizations are being circulated for targeting by members of the mob. Large-scale harassment campaigns like this fuel and are fueled by political events. As political rhetoric heats up ahead of the US presidential election later this year, this kind of online activity is going to ramp up, and it's important to understand that those phenomena are interrelated. Have you guys noticed that all of this is happening in year 2024? In the year of our Lord 2024, the year of the 2024 US presidential election? A lot of you guys that watch this aren't even from this country, and yet the FBI is assuming that we're all Americans. I mean, I know that the US government, especially now, thinks it's the world police. But this is not irrelevant. This is related. Like they are not really that far off when they say this is an election year. Now, I'm not saying that, we planned this, because remember, this whole Sweet Baby Inc. thing only happened because members of Sweet Baby Inc. tried to get Brutus's Steam group shut down and came after him. If they had done nothing, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. Everything would have just gone as normal. But because they reacted, now we're in this room. We're in this room now, and this is what we're doing now, right? So they have to do this. Now, it's a good thing, in my opinion, because it means that the truth is coming out. Like what was once concealed has now been revealed, right? So now we know. But yeah, when they say there's a presidential election coming up, and you're probably thinking, what does that have to do with video games? Yes, it does. To them, it does. It's one of these things like, saying goes, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. These people make everything political. There's no avoiding it. You might as well confront it, is what I'm saying. I mean, you can avoid it if you like to, but they're not going to stop. And they're going to ruin your life if they can. So I would be prepared. Large-scale harassment campaigns like this fuel and are fueled by political events. As scholars and journalists have noted, by the way, scholars and journalists, intellectuals are worthless people. They don't know shit. They're midwits. The targeted harassment, hate, and cultural norms that were at the heart of Gamergate in the mid-2010s never went away. That is kind of true, but I wouldn't say the targeted hate, but Gamergate never ended. It's just a continuation. I mean, you look at the issue, people's problems with Rings of Power TV show, with what happened to Star Wars, with what happened to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with what happened with Doctor Who, with what happened with countless other sort of like geeky franchises, Disney, yeah, that's all coming from the same cancerous place. It's all the same crap. And I know you guys know this, right? I mean, this is what the situation we're finding ourselves in is really simple. You have people who are like, the quality of this art that I'm enjoying or I was enjoying, has gone down severely. And I feel like I'm being preached at. And this doesn't feel like art. It doesn't reflect truth. It doesn't reflect reality. It's propaganda. I can see that. You know what? I don't want to give this any more of my money. That's the extent of what's happening, right? It's just it's not good. So I don't want to participate in this anymore. And these people who are always whining about capitalism, by the way, they're like, you're not allowed to do that. You're not supposed to quit. You're not supposed to turn away from what we've made. You have to watch this. You have to like this. Why are you harassing us? Let me send the feds after you. I mean, that's what's happening. They don't like the fact that we don't like what the crap that they're making, and now they're like, well, we're gonna use force to get you to like it. This is what I mean. Like this is why it should be pointed out as soon as you see it. Oh, this is garbage. I'm not gonna participate. Right? I mean, remember, the one thing that we can do, it's the easiest thing to fight against this, is not give them our money. I mean, it's so easy, and then give the money actively to people who are, you know, trying at least to give us something. Trying. They don't even have to be great at it. Like they're going to stumble, they're going to fall, they're going to be working with, you know, not the same kind of financial backing. They don't have BlackRock in their corner, you know. They don't have like government grants out the wazoo to like pick them up when they fall down. They're just people trying to figure it all out. And if you can support them, do it. You want to, you know, buy some comic books from independent creators. You know, don't give Marvel and DC your money. They hate you. You know, buy some video games from indie developers that are making good stuff. Make some suggestions to other people. Check them out. Watch films from, you know, smaller studios. I watch a lot of work from Angel Studios, and even though it is a Christian company, not all the films are Christian. There's just like some regular stuff that's good, you know. So that way you still get something out of it, and you know, they like you don't have to eat the slop they're pushing. Anyway, back to this. Um, People in game spaces, especially marginalized developers and content creators, face hate and harassment daily. This is why, like, the idea that there is a group that is marginalized, that they identify as marginalized, that's a bullshit argument. I don't care. Like, I don't care who makes it. I don't care if you have a studio that's nothing but like straight white dudes. If the content is good, I'll support it. This is the stupidest reason to buy something. In fact, research conducted by Take This has outlined an entire spectrum and typology of extremism and dark participation in games. What the hell is dark participation? What does that mean? Let's take a look. I'm curious about this. Frontiers, participation in games. Toxic cultures. All right, well, I'll come back to this. Maybe I'll do another thing on this later. Dark participation. If you guys know what that means, let me know in the comments. It can be scary or uncomfortable to think about, to talk about, and to understand in overwhelming situations. It's not unusual to feel at a loss or to have thoughts of helplessness. But there are things we can do to mitigate the harm. For everyone, it's extremely important to speak out and step up for folks who are being harmed. This is like they're saying this to people that deal with mental illness issues. You see how weirdly exploitative this is? This kind of support can take on many forms. This could be an email or a quick check-in with the people in your orbit who are targets of the harassment, or are close to those targets, family members, colleagues, and friends of those targeted who also experience different types of harm in these situations. During organized harassment campaigns, people sometimes are forced to leave social media and online activity for a time, and they often need help filtering messages, dealing with threats, and maintaining their mental well-being. People of marginalized identities often already have some of these tools in place out of historical necessity. The volume of large campaigns like this can quickly become overwhelming. That's another way of saying we're going to prioritize the experiences of non-white, non-male people. So if you're a white man and you're dealing with, like, you know, some mental, psychological health issues, these people don't give a fuck about you. They don't. They're telling you that whenever they say words like marginalized, they're talking about, yeah, like everybody but, you know, white men straight white men, and that also kind of extends to just like, you know, non-white men too. I mean, it's men first. Men are the original group that you can't be bigoted against. But the volume of large campaigns like this can quickly become overwhelming. The still relevant Games Hotline website hosts a digital safety guide that can support people for experiencing who are experiencing or at risk of experiencing targeted harassment. And for industry leaders, so these are the people who, they run the gaming websites, they're developers, they're producers, they're designers, the people in charge. Or not in charge, but in charge of producing the content that gamers like buy. You may be inclined to be quiet or cautious, but that's actually not helpful. As noted in our resource, Empowering the Game Industry, a major lesson learned from Gamergate was the importance of taking a loud public stance. At the time, many studios were hesitant to address the hate and abuse from Gamergate in any meaningful way. The reasons varied, but usually this hesitation was born out of fear of losing profits or concern that taking a stance would attract the attention of the Gamergate mob. However, the failure to take a stand and clearly communicate with the community backfired. In other words, failure to clearly and unequivocally denounce Gamergate. So this is like they're applying pressure to games devs. They're saying you have to denounce these people. You don't have to know what they're about. You shouldn't examine it. We've already done all the work. We know what they're really about, right? We know that they're evil. You have to denounce them. And of course, the studios have done this. Like, you know, like it says here, studio found that pro Gamergate individuals assumed the studio's game was a safe space for them to build community. Um, Without an explicit statement from the studio that toxic misogynistic behavior was not welcome. So they're saying that if you don't say anything, like, people like us are going to think, oh, it's safe for us to be like misogynists online, I guess, which is bullshit anyway. But this is this is a shakedown. They're trying to essentially control the actions of game developers. And game developers have better not come after their customers. I know these people don't give a shit about profit because that's capitalism and they're communists. They're communists. They're violent people. They're worse than Nazis. They have a higher body count. So, um, hate, harassment, and toxic behavior have no place in games. By taking direct, targeted action in a timely manner, we can mitigate further harm to talented, dedicated folks in games and help prevent additional recurrences, harmful events. So this is a mental health website for gamers, supposedly, and it's an NGO. And when you put that in context with what the feds are doing and the Department of Homeland Security, I mean, this is a serious situation. And all it is that as gamers, like we just wanted games to be good and we wanted to stop the woke crap. And I think we should continue to demand that. I don't think that changes anything. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I will provide links to the articles in the description. Thanks so much. Check out the links below. If you can get me to 500 subs, I'd be really happy about that. I might I'll try to see if I can start like a membership or Discord or something where we can all share more articles, more information, and like keep getting it out there. So thanks guys so much for coming on, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.